In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. No land in sight, no air support above. Only cold waves, steel ships, and unseen enemies below. This is not a story about heroes who seek glory. This is a story about survival. About command under pressure. And about one man forced to make life and death decisions every single minute. Greyhound takes us into the most dangerous naval battleground of World War II. Where German U-boats hunt silently. And every sonar ping could be the last warning before destruction. No dramatic speeches. No safe moments. Just tension that never lets you breathe. Welcome to ESKC Movie 111. Tonight, we dive into the cold, brutal reality of naval warfare. And uncover how leadership, fear, and sacrifice collide in the film. Stay with us, because once the hunt begins, there is no escape. North Atlantic, 1942. The ocean appears calm, but this calm is a trap. In the middle of the cold and cruel ocean, a convoy of Allied ships moves slowly. They carry something more valuable than gold, the hope that the war can be won. At the front of the convoy stands a small destroyer named USS Greyhound. This is where we meet Commander Ernest Krause, an officer in the U.S. Navy, intelligent, disciplined, and devoutly religious. But there was one major problem. This was his first combat command. The Greyhound was tasked with escorting the convoy through the most dangerous area of the Atlantic. The Black Pit, a zone with no air cover. This was where Nazi submarines, U-boats, hunted like wolves. Krause stands on the bridge, his eyes never leaving the radar. Every small dot on the screen could mean the death of hundreds of people. The first alarm sounds. Sonar detects something. The enemy is close. The war hasn't started yet. But the tension is already suffocating.
We're at sonar speed.
Here.
Without warning, the ocean became tense. Captain Ernest received information from the sonar operator that there was movement approximately 1 mile away.
For rapid maneuvers.
Aye, sir.
Without hesitation, Captain Ernest Krause took decisive action. However, after maneuvering, contact was lost.
Towards contact indefinite, no propeller.
A few moments later, it reappeared and was detected by sonar. Without mercy, Ernest launched a bomb specifically designed to hit submarines like U-boats.
Now, Mr.
The crew was unsure whether the bomb had hit the enemy or not. But not long after, oil appeared, indicating that the enemy ship had been hit by the bomb and sunk. The crew members looked happy after the captain confirmed that the enemy had been sunk.
Captain, it seems we sank that.
Captain Ernest then thanked the sonar reader for his accurate and focused analysis. The ship's crew then reported that the reserve fuel had been depleted due to the U-boat pursuit. Captain Ernest looked around. The Greek ship had also become a target for the U-boat. The U-boat was a German submarine monitoring the area known as the Black Pit, where the Greyhound and the convoy were passing through. Not long after, the U-boat fired 2 torpedoes. The ship's crew detected them. Captain Ernest moved quickly and took the helm. Captain Ernest gave the order to sail in a zigzag pattern to the Candena. The Candena was a U.S. rescue ship following the convoy.
Sir.
In addition to the Candena, there was also a Greek ship, Despotiko, sailing. It was destroyed by a U-boat. The crew was rescued by Ernest. It didn't stop there. The U-boat was still looking for more unsuspecting prey. The captain received information that there was movement 14 miles away. Ernest asked his crew to continue monitoring the surface radar, in case the U-boat appeared from behind. And sure enough, 6 U-boats appeared simultaneously.
Combat, looks like our friends come up.
One of the U-boats surfaced 3 miles away from Ernest's ship to search for oxygen. Without hesitation, Ernest ordered all crew members to be on combat alert. Then the Ernest maneuvered, searching for the right target location. Then the depth charge was released. The captain insisted that the U-boat must be forced to dive again. However, the Ernest was experiencing problems. The sonar was malfunctioning and inaccurate, and night was fast approaching. The U-boat knew no curfew. Captain Ernest was drinking a cup of coffee and hadn't had time to eat. He heard danger signals from outside, and the Greyhound was about to collide with an American merchant ship. It turned out that the U-boat was attacking. The current victim was the oil tanker Vasco. When the Greyhound fired at the U-boat, they were blocked by the American merchant ship, and it turned out that the friendly ship fired back. Because it was invisible and covered by the night fog, they misjudged the situation. The U-boat dived again after firing. Meanwhile, Ernest's crew was injured. The ship tried to locate the U-boat. The sonar reader heard something moving and reported it to the commander. Then the commander moved quickly to position the ship. Now the U-boat tried to deceive the Greyhound by launching a noise-making device, and indeed, the captain of the Ernest was baited and fired many bombs and bullets, but to no avail. For the second time, the sonar reader was not fooled and reported to the captain that it was a trick, because the ship was not moving.
At rear convoy attack.
As a man of faith, Captain Ernest, who had been informed by his crew that there were survivors, immediately gave orders and rescued the crew of the Visco.
Ships put down a scrambling net and get engines all slow astern.
U-boats not only damaged ships, they also waged psychological warfare. They would tune into the radio waves of Greyhound ships to spread terror. They would recount their hunts and try to break the morale of the ship's crew. The destruction of the second U-boat. Not standing idly by, terrorized and haunted by the U-boat, Captain Ernest retaliated against all the terror.
Much damage, sir. Captain.
Together with Dickey, the Greyhound worked together to sink the U-boat. The battle broke out. The Greyhound and the U-boat exchanged gunfire and bombs. The battle was too close, preventing the Greyhound from firing accurately. And that's when the Greyhound was finally hit by a single shot, killing some of its crew and injuring others. The Greyhound maneuvered to find the right position and released all its bombs and bullets. Finally, their efforts paid off. One Nazi U-boat exploded and sank. However, their supply of explosives was drastically reduced. A final tribute to the crew of the Greyhound who fell under Ernest's command. To make a long story short, after 50 hours without guard duty, on Friday, the Greyhound received air cover. Captain Ernest was wounded in the leg, but he continued his duties. The radar detected 2 movements around the Greyhound. The crew received the order to battle stations. Once again, the U-boat spread fear and terror. Without saying much, Captain Ernest devised a strategy to teach the U-boat a lesson. The U-boat fired torpedoes from the depths of the sea. No less than 2 torpedoes launched from opposite directions. Captain Ernest turned the ship to avoid the enemy torpedoes. One missed, and the other only grazed the hull. Now Ernest used his binoculars to pinpoint the U-boat's exact location. With precise calculations, a targeted shot nearly hit the U-boat. Now they were exchanging fire, and bombs were flying everywhere. In front of the commander, there was one U-boat in a very strategic location. Without much thought, Captain Ernest immediately fired a measured shot. The situation heated up. The Greyhound had destroyed one ship. Not long after, a second U-boat was spotted in the periscope on the starboard bow of the Greyhound. However, luck was on Captain Ernest's side. Air cover had appeared in the sky. "Uncle William," said the captain. It was an Allied aircraft. It gave the code, Baker Dog, which meant that help had arrived. 2 bombs were dropped from the sky. They destroyed the Nazi German U-boat. The crew rejoiced that the enemy had been sunk and their fatigue was relieved. Now the captain had to report the situation to command center. That everything was truly over. The radar section reported no contact. The sonar section reported no contact. and all guards returned to their positions. Captain Ernest was greeted by the British Navy ship HMS Diamond. He asked him if everything was okay. Ernest reported that he had lost 7 ships and 2 others were damaged, and had destroyed 4 Nazi German U-boats. Then the British Navy congratulated him. Then Ernest asked someone to replace him, and he returned to his deck. However, before he entered the deck, he received an extraordinary welcome from the crew of the convoy ships he had protected. They even treated him to drinks. Ernest returned to the deck, cleaned himself up. Then he went to sleep, after being exhausted from traveling for more than 50 hours, and the movie ended. As the ocean grows quiet, and the echoes of war slowly fade into the night, Greyhound leaves us with a haunting reminder. This was not a story about glory, it was a story about survival. In the endless Atlantic, where fear had no place to rest, men stood their ground against an invisible enemy beneath the waves. Every order carried the weight of lives. Every second was a gamble between duty and death. Captain Krause did not fight for medals or praise. He fought for the men behind him, for the ships beside him, and for the fragile line of hope crossing a hostile sea. Greyhound shows us that true courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward, even when fear surrounds you from all sides. If you enjoyed this recap and want more intense war stories, real battles, and unforgettable sacrifices, make sure to subscribe to ESKC Movie 111. Like the video, share it with fellow movie lovers, and stay with us, because here, we don't just watch movies, we relive the war.